Okay, now we get to talk about the ORC segment. ORC stands for Order Common Information. The ORC segment is used to communicate information such as order, date, time, and requesting physician. These are data elements that all orders have in common, no matter whether they are lab orders, radiology orders, cardiology orders, etc. It contains general information about the order, and it's used in an ORM message. That'll be important because later on we'll talk about another segment that is specific to a particular type of order. So in the OBR segment, you'll have radiology-specific information. The OBR segment will contain lab-specific information. Wherever that order is going, the OBR segment will be specific to that particular type of order, and it would look different, an OBR for a lab message than an OBR for radiology. But we're not talking about OBRs yet. We're talking about ORCs, and ORC is Order Common Information. So an order message, no matter where it goes, will always have an ORC segment. And these are the important fields in the ORC segment. So ORC1 is the order control number, 2 is the placer order number, 3 is the filler order number, 4 is the placer order group. And those are all, these 2, 3, and 4 are all related to IHE. And again, we're just touching on IHE so you start to hear some of the terminology and get familiar with these words, and they'll start to make more sense when we get into the IHE part of the course. ORC7 is quantity and timing, ORC8 is parent, ORC9 date time of transaction, 10 entered by, 12 ordering provider, 14 callback phone number, 17 entering organization. And let's work through those fields now. 1 is a required field. It specifies the purpose of this order message. In radiology, there are 3 common values for the ORC field. They are NW, it means it's a new order. SC is a status change to an existing order. So if somebody ordered a chest 2 views, the first time, that would be a new order. If they decide, oh, we don't need 2 views, we just want 1 view of the chest, they would do a status change, changing that existing order from a 2 view to a 1 view. And last but not least is CA, which cancels the order. If they decide they don't want the chest x-ray at all, then they would make another order message that cancels the order. ORC 2 and 3. 2 is a conditional field in HL7. It's required in IHE. 2 contains the placer order number. This is a number assigned by the order placer system. Order placer is an IHE concept that we will cover later in the semester. ORC3 is also conditional, required by IHE, contains the order filler number. Again, this is a concept we will cover later. You just need to know right now that ORC3 contains the filler order number. 4 and 5. 4 is not required by HL7 and it's optional in IHE. 4 contains the placer group number, another IHE concept for later in the semester. 5 is optional in HL7, required in IHE. It contains the order status. This field is frequently used in lab orders, particularly those that take days to complete, to keep the lab system updated on the progress of the order. It's almost never used in radiology orders. ORC7. Not required in HL7, is required in IHE, contains the quantity and timing information for the order. For example, if the physician wants an inpatient to get a morning chest x-ray every day for the next 3 days, he can place one order with a quantity of 3 and a timing to be every morning at 6 a.m. This is obviously easier than placing a new order every day or every morning. 8, not a required field in HL7, is required in IHE. It contains the parent order information. So some places use a parent-child order concept for studies that are routinely done together. For example, a CT scan of the abdomen is usually followed with a CT of the pelvis. And there are clinical reasons to do these 2 exams together. So if you've given contrast, the contrast that's in the abdomen will automatically flow into the pelvis. You've already given them a dose of contrast. You may as well just scan the pelvis as well. The abdomen and pelvis are obviously connected. They're one big area of the body. Frequently, if you only scan the abdomen, the patient has to come back and be scanned for their pelvis because radiologists can't see all the structures that go down the pelvis, so you just always do them together. So, rather than have the doctors order both exams each time, it's easier if you make a CT abdomen parent exam that every time it gets ordered, it automatically generates a CT pelvis exam order. The CT pelvis exam is said to be the child of the parent exam. ORC 8 will tell you if the exam is a parent or child. And I love that the textbook does not include an example of this. This is something that would be a lot easier if you had a visual reference. If you could look at a parent-child order, it would be a lot easier to understand. And so that's a failure of the textbook in my opinion. ORC 9 and 10. 9 is an optional field in HL7 required in IHE. 9 contains the date time of transaction. This is the time the order was entered into the sending system. 10 is optional in HL7 required in IHE. It contains the name of the person who placed the order in the sending system. In simple terms, you can look at ORC 10 to see who entered the order and ORC 9 to see what time they put the order in their system. And that's very handy for troubleshooting. ORC 12 and 14. 12 is optional in HL7, required in IHE. It gives information about the doctor who ordered the test. ORC 14 is optional in HL7, required in IHE. It contains the callback number in case the order needs to be clarified or confirmed. In simple terms, you can look at ORC 12 and see which doctor ordered the exam, and ORC 14 to find out what number he wants to be called at. ORC 17 is not a required field in HL7. It is required in IHE, and it contains information regarding what facility the order was placed from. And here is an ORC segment in action. So you can see that this is an order message. It is an ORM. ORMs always have the designation of 001. That's their trigger code. There is no other trigger code. In ADT, you have 62 different types of trigger codes and order messages. You only have one, 001. So you have the MSH segment, the PID segment, the PV1 segment, and here you have the ORC. ORC1 tells us that this is a new order. ORC2 has this long date. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, I got lost. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is a 1. So that is the ORC segment. It just gives you information, general information about the order. Remember, the only field that is absolutely required by HL7 is ORC1. So this is the only required field by HL7 standards. So there you go, the ORC segment.